program again. This is the third time we've done it, and the crowds keep growing. We have with us tonight Mike McDaniel and Wes Clark.
Thank you.
Turn it over to you guys.
Okay. You or me?
Pick it up, Mike.
Oh yeah, all right, we're going to take. Is everybody happy?
Yeah.
And can everyone hear us?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Good.
My shirt collar keeps dumping over here, so you're going to have to forgive me here.
And we are the Rowan and Martin of Burbank history. So what you see is what you get.
Yeah, feel free to laugh whenever you want to, and we will get beginning here right now. So we plan to talk with everybody about your questions and things, but we'd like you to save them till the end because we do have lots of slides. And tonight, for the first time, we're going to be presenting multimedia things, music and video. So things of old Burbank you've probably never seen before, unless you visit our website frequently. So anyway, let's see.
Oh, I introduce, well, there's a couple of things. First of all, if you have cell phones with ringers on, please turn your ringers off. Class of 1974 Burbank High.
Boy, that's weak, class.
Our class motto was apathy, but let's not overdo it. If you have an empty seat next to you, I see some people. If you're standing and you want to sit down, take a look where the people are raising their hands. There are seats available. Also, we have books available. The Burbank history, you want to talk about that back to back?
Back in 2011, the city did a Burbank history book.
It's excellent.
It's an excellent done book. It features a lot of our material. So we guarantee it to be good. The price is great. It's $20, and you can be there for hours reading it. And the photography, the printing is all excellent. So please feel free.
And the best thing about it is that it goes for the Burbankia Bandwidth Fund. We're at 91% of disk usage. I need to get more bandwidth, so anyway. Okay, this gentleman, your host, Mike McDaniel, born in Burbank, attended Burbank schools, Burbank High School, class of 1974. Lived in Burbank his entire life. Works for the city of Burbank in the graphics department. Interested in history, World War II memorabilia. He's a member of the Veterans Committee. If you've been to the Memorial Day things, you've seen him there. Assisted with the Burbank 100th anniversary book, and he is the head historian and researcher of the Burbankia website.
Yeah. Thank you. Now, we have this handsome gentleman here. He was born in Los Angeles. We will not hold that against him. He's an avid Burbanker. And he attended Burbank schools, Burbank High Class of 74. I hope I'm not pushing that too much. It's our 40th anniversary, or year, what do we call that? We're all here to celebrate. Many of our classmates are here tonight. Anyway, Wes has lived in Burbank until 1980. He now lives in Northern Virginia. He works for the U.S. Patent and Trade Office. He's interested in history and lots of other stuff. Was in the Marine Corps from 74 to 78, and he is our webmaster for Burbankia.
So,
and without further ado, we're going to get right into
now, the Burbankia website, everything that you're going to see tonight on this slideshow is on it. There's the URL. The URL is complicated. Or just go to wesclark.com and you'll see it as one of my websites. Or Google Burbankia, that's another way of getting to it. It was created in December 2003. It's been updated hundreds of times since then. I'm happy to say it's been on the internet for over 10 years. That's kind of hard to do. There aren't a whole lot of websites like that. There are 180 plus text files, that is pages, about 3,000 images of Burbank, old and new. 10 complete books are available on this website for you to read. And we have 24 videos. There's a lot on it.
We would like to give a special shout out for the Burbank Historical Society. Raise your hands. Raise your hands. Since 1973, they have kept Burbank history alive here, and we are frequent collaborators. We talk all the time and do things together, and we'd like to thank them for preserving Burbank history for all to see at the museum. visit them when you can and make sure that you watch there often so that you can see all of the changes there.
Now, let's talk about music. Burbank music.
All right.
Do you know this song? Anybody recognize that?
Avery knows. All right.
It's a song by The Who. It was released in 1982. And among Who fans, it's well known. Actually, it was a hit. And it talks about a Burbank girl. And one of the lyrics is, she's a girl, she's a bomb. Well, she's a Burbanker as well. Her name in school was Teresa Pop, later known as Teresa Russell. There she is pictured in 2007. She was born Teresa Pop, San Diego. She attended Burbank High School, appears in the 1973 Serralves. Did not graduate at that time. Next slide. She married the English film director Nicholas Rowe, and they were subsequently divorced. Pete Townsend, he's the lead songwriter of The Who. He says that Russell was the inspiration for the song Athena, which he first called Teresa. From Wikipedia, Pete Townsend wrote the song after an encounter with actress Teresa Russell. He promptly fell in love with her, and his frustration of being rejected is contained in this song. Townsend initially changed the title to Athena to disguise who the song was really about. I think he was married at the time, actually. Teresa, or Athena, still lives in California. So that's one Burbank. You want to do this?
Yeah, I'll do this one. Trivia question. Does anyone know when and where the last time Paul McCartney and John Lennon performed together after the breakup of the Beatles? Anybody got an idea?
And where did it take place?
Yeah, where is it? Go ahead. Throw it out. No. No. It was a thing they called a toot and a snore, believe it or not. And there it is. John and Paul together again in 1974. Lennon was producing Harry Nilsson's latest album, Pussycats, when Paul and Linda dropped by after the first night of the sessions, aka the Jim Keltner Fan Club Hour. They were joined by Stevie Wonder, Harry Nilsson, Jess Edward Davis, May Pang, Bobby Keys, and producer Ed Freeman for an impromptu jam session. Controlled substances were used.
It was 1974.
Hence the word toot in the title. So anyway, you'll also notice what is missing there. It was the breakup reason for the Beatles. All you Beatles fans, she's not there.
Yoko Ono.
All right, we're not going to talk about Yoko.
And by the way, if you're a Beatles fan, do not rush out and get this. It isn't very good.
No, it's
I've heard
terrible.
some of the tracks. It's not quite up to snuff, but it is the last time they jammed together, and it did happen in Burbank. Burbankers. Let's talk about those fascinating people, Burbankers.
Milton.
Okay. Milton Blackie Felson. I have to do this in Johnny Carson style. Milton Blackie Felson, a Burbank pipe maker. We found these pictures. This fellow, his interest was in making pipes. As you can see, he's a former sailor, and he used to have these this avocation where he just manufactured pipes. Want to go to the next one? Sure. That's Bob Hope, by the way, on the bottom right there. He knows himself.
If you couldn't tell.
Personality pipes. Mr. Felson of Burbank, California, carves pipes as a hobby. It shows some of his work there on his table. They represent from left Greta Garbo, Jerry Lewis, Dean Martin, General Eisenhower, Johnny Ray, and Bob Hope. And he's former Navy, because if you're former Navy, you get to wear one of those hats with the life preserver and the cross anchors and sailor kind of thing. But there he is again. Two pipes he designed and carved for General Mohammed, the president of Egypt. So he did get some international ranking there. They did know about him. The Californian owns a collection of pipes from world celebrities for whom he makes pipes in return for these sent to him. So he also collected them. Now, look carefully at this picture.
This is very strange.
What do you see? Women's legs and thighs. The man made pipes designed in the shape of women's legs and thighs.
Famous actresses.
Famous actresses. Let's see, who have we got here? Most glamorous film lovelies.
Marilyn Monroe is there. So
yeah, I think Jane Russell is another one of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, That's Blackie Felsen, Burbanker.
Burbankers were the dead-end kids. Does anybody ever remember the dead-end kids?
Otherwise known as the Bowery Boys later on. Yeah, I like to include them as Burbankers, and they were known as the Plagues of Burbank in 1938. Their first film, Dead End, was not made at Warner Brothers, but their subsequent films were. And we had garlic bread today at the smokehouse, and we drove right by where this picture was taken. I want to tell you a story. Which one is Bernard Punsley? Do I see Bernard? Bernard Punsley is second from left. He was my mother-in-law's doctor. The dead-end kids all went on their various careers well into their 20s. They became the Bowery Boys, but Bernard Punsley was different. He got a medical doctorate degree, and he became my mother-in-law's doctor. And one of my cherished memories was going out Christmas shopping with my father-in-law and asking him, "Hey, Dad, is it true that Bernard Punsley was once Velda's doctor?" "Yeah, he sure was." And I heard this complaints about him and his billing practices. Interesting.
Anyway, brought to you by Warner Brothers. Have you ever seen an old 1930s or 40s Warner Brothers movie? The bottom line is if you ever see one and they're from New York, you know, or it's a steamy night or the rain's coming down in a nice film noir and someone gets stabbed on a nice New York street, don't believe it. It was from Burbank. Here's New York Street, pictured from the magazine or the book Celluloid Skyline. And as you can plainly see, these are the mountains which you can see
Hollywood
from the
Hills
parking lot, straight out here. So if a guy got stabbed in this dirty little alley back here, you know he was actually stabbed in Burbank.
Actually, there's a great Dead Ends Kid movie. It's the one with James Cagney. And it starts with this great crane shot and shows this New York street around the turn of the century, you know, teenage gangs and everything. And then it pans upwards and outwards and shows this beautiful New York. It's Burbank. It's not New York City, it's Burbank. Oh, 42nd Street. This is one of my favorite musicals. And does it get any more New York than this? I mean, you've got Ruby Keeler tap dancing upstairs with all these great Art Deco skies. It's Burbank. That's not New York, it's Burbank.
In miniature, even.
In miniature.
So, oh, Maurice. Well, I'll take Maurice here. Maurice Poirier, a Frenchman by birth. He was a genius, way ahead of his time. He believed in rockets. He was described as a watchmaker, inventor, aircraft worker, interested in rocketry, power transmission, vehicle suspension, called the 10 ideas per minute man. He lived at 324 East Tahunga in the 1930s and moved up to North Orchard Drive in the 40s. He came here getting away from the problems that were brewing in the 30s over in Europe. And when he got here, he proliferated rockets. He decided he didn't like the enemy, so he built a rocket that would launch up over and explode, raining fire down on the... You hear these things now in modern technology, but remember, this guy had these ideas and built them in the 1930s. And
1936, popular science.
They didn't catch on until modern science.
But he looks like a movie star.
Yeah.
Which is the other interesting thing about him.
He was a stunning...
And he had great looking rockets. I mean, I don't know how well they flew, but they look spectacular.
Look at this thing. This looks like straight out of a 50s sci-fi B movie, you know, at your local theater. Anyway, he built them here, and he actually took this out to the desert and flew it. So it wasn't that he just made them and made them look good. They actually did fly. He was quite a genius in that area. Then he decided that that wasn't enough. He had to continue on. Maurice Poirier of Burbank, California is shown with his model of radio power plant, which would rise 1,000 feet into the air and would receive and send in a wavelength. Anyway, he claims that such a station would be so powerful that it could easily direct radio-controlled airplanes. That was the term for unmanned back in his time, at great distances, clean across the country, just using these radio towers that he had invented. And this was his working prototype.
And he also grew that dapper little mustache.
Yeah, he got that mustache. Now here, he tested this out at Lockheed. This is a little thing. Maurice Poirier, left inventor of Burbank, California, is shown here with the model of a rocket plane which he hopes will attain the speed of 600 miles per hour. Keep in mind, in the 30s, there was no jets. There were no rocket airplanes at the time. He was way ahead. Actually, I kind of find it scary when you figure that each one of these is a flammable device with another flammable device in between. So you either are going to have a very fast airplane or you're going to have a very big boom.
Experience is what you get when you didn't get what you wanted.
Yeah. And here's the plane, though, in actual flight. And anyway, you can see, look at how many rockets. They were up there, they were up here, they were over here. But it flew.
One serious problem if you think strategically.
Yes.
The secret liquid ingredients are extracted from weeds, obtainable only in Europe. In the 1930s. What was going on in Europe in the 1930s?
Not very good. It wasn't for longevity, that's for sure. Anyway, then later he expanded into watchmaking, and he developed a watch with a 12-second subdial.
An aid to aviation.
Yeah, it had something to do with helping people fly better. Then he invented and applied for patents on several different styles of vehicle suspension and was granted the patents.
He's actually, I don't know if he's the father of modern independent suspension, but it's an idea that caught on first in the trucking industry and then with passenger cars. So the independent suspensions we enjoy in vehicles these days, this Burbanker came up with back in the 30s. Oh, here's another. How many of you like Roy Rogers? And, yeah, let's hear it, right? The code of the West. Well, Trigger, we claim Trigger as a Burbanker.
We got proof.
We got proof. The Hutchins Stables. This is this great old photograph taken in the 1940s. It shows the area. You can see the Walt Disney Studios, Warner Brothers. I put a big green arrow. You can't miss it. That's where the Hutchins Stables and barns were. There were some other items there. I like Gopher Flats. This was written up by a Burbanker who used to ride his horse through the hills, and he supplied all these labels. But the Hutchins Stables and Farms, next one, Mike. Yep. There it is. There's the bill of sale sold to Roy Rogers, one Palomino stallion named Trigger, for the sum of $2,500. In 1943, we're talking real money for a Palomino here. And paid down in the balance, $2,000 to be paid on Roy Rogers' return to New York. Now, I understand that before he became Roy Rogers' horse, this Trigger was ridden by Maid Marian in the Errol Flynn Robin Hood. So that's actually Trigger that you see, that Palomino.
Now, we're going to get into some very fun and interesting things.
But before we start,
yes.
Laura Ingalls, not Laura Ingalls Wilder. This is a different Laura Ingalls, okay? So don't think of Michael Landon, Little House and all that. This is a different Laura Ingalls.
No Little Outhouse on the Prairie. So, anyway, Laura Ingalls, which you probably, has anyone heard of her here before? I know a few of you from the Historical Society. Yeah.
Have any of you met her? Good.
Good.
We'll explain why.
Yeah, you'll learn why in just a second. Anyway, this woman, you've heard of Amelia Earhart. I think everybody has. Okay, you should hear of her. She's very famous. This woman was more famous in her time, running with Amelia. She held most of those records that Amelia didn't, and held them all the way to the modern day.